Hi everyone and welcome to Accounting in Excel. My name is Melrose. Today I am making a tutorial series on how to build your own bookkeeping system in Microsoft Excel environment. I will go through step by step from building your own chart of accounts to recording your entries and eventually preparing your financial statements. So let's get started. But before getting any further, let's define what is a chart of accounts. So chart of accounts is the backbone of our financial reporting. We use this as a financial organizational tool to classify financial transactions. I have divided my sheet here into two separate areas. On the left side of the sheet, you will find a list of my chart of accounts. It is organized from balance sheet account to the income statement account. On the right side is a table where we can add our accounts. Our goal here is as soon as we add an account on the table, our chart gets automatically updated. Having the summary right next to our table saves us time into analyzing what are the accounts missing and how are we going to code an added account. By the way, there is no strict rule as to adding code to your account, but these codes will help you understand the relationship and hierarchies of your accounts. Remember that the foundation of your financial reporting relies on how organized and clear your chart of accounts are structured. So let's start designing our chart of accounts from scratch. So let's start with our title area. Let's start with the company name, followed by the title of the report, chart of accounts. And for our date of reporting, let's use the function today. This function returns the current system date and it also refreshes whenever the worksheet recalculates. So on this area is where our list of accounts sits. Let's now prepare for our table. Let's start with our table header. FS for financial statements. Either it's a balance sheet account or an income statement account. Followed by FS group. FS subgroup. Account code. Then we have the account name, followed by concatenation of our account code and account name. Let me just do some formatting here so that you could see the whole sheet. There you go. And let me freeze the view so that we could move further. And let's follow that with sub-account code, sub-account name, and a header to concatenate our sub-account code and sub-account name. So let's convert our header into a table. Let's go to Insert, and my table is header. Minimize that so that you could see the whole table. Let me just get rid of the filter button here. And let me wrap the header first. Let's minimize the size of our column. Now we have our data entry table ready. Let's go ahead and do pivoting to structure our chart of accounts. But before we start pivoting, let me just go ahead and rename our table. Let's do that with table COA or table chart of accounts. Hit enter. And let's go ahead and do the pivoting. We're going to put our pivot summary in our existing worksheet. And let's go ahead and drag FS, FS group, FS subgroup. We are not adding the column account code and account name, but just the code with the account name and the column code with sub-account name. I will explain that further later on. And our date is not showing up, so let me just edit that. I just merged the cell, just so you know. Okay, let me just remove the buttons and remove the field headers. We don't want the grand total, so let me just take that one out. Turn it off. And now we have our table structure. Let's go ahead and fill the cells. So for our FS column, let's use a data validation for that. And let's go ahead and do list. We only have two entries for that, balance sheet and income statement. And we don't want the user to type it every time, or you don't want yourself to type this every time. So we want the user to be able to select which account do they want and which statement should it be. For the FS group, let's fill that one later on. Let me just change that. Let's say we wanted to have for a subgroup a cash, so that is a current asset account. For this one, I will use 101 for cash, as cash is the first item on our account. How you structure or code your accounts depends on how complex your financial transaction is. Keep in mind that as your business grows, there will be more transaction. So make sure to design it in a way that it will ease or facilitate the adding of new accounts. So in this column, we wanted to concatenate our account code column and our account name column. This is because we want this column to show up on our chart of account list. So let's go ahead and try to refresh our sheet here and see how it would look like on our report. So it looks like the way it's supposed to be. Cash is under the current asset. Let's go ahead and fill FS group column. In this column, you wanted to create a map or a guide so that it will tell us what code should we use if we are adding a new account. So what we wanted is from 100 to 200 is an asset account. 100 being the current and 200 being the non-current. Let me just go ahead and quickly fix the formatting here. Now we are ready to fill our sub-account column. So under cash, there are different kinds of sub-accounts. We have cash on hand, cash in savings account, cash in current account, and so on. So when we design our code, we wanted that the account cash becomes the parent account, and the different sub-accounts becomes the child of the cash account. Since we code our cash at 101, let it be our sub-account cash on hand code at 1001. It really doesn't have to be 4 numbers. You can use 2, 3, 4, 5. That depends on how complex your financial transactions are. And on our last column, we wanted to concatenate again the sub-account code column and the sub-account name column. Let's quickly hide the columns where our formulas are, since we don't want this to be edited. Let's go ahead and refresh our sheet here and check if the structure are in order. Let me add another sub-account for cash. Let's put it cash in bank savings account. And let me just quickly refresh our sheet. And there you go, cash in bank savings account is added on our chart of account list. Now let's add a button that will help us refresh the whole sheet with one click. In order to activate this button, we will use macro. So macro is a recording of a repetitive task, like the one we did with refreshing our sheet. So basically in this button, it is where our task recording sits. But before we can record our task, make sure that you have your developer tab activated on your ribbon. But if you don't, let's go ahead and add that. So on your sheet, click File tab and click Options. Select Customize Ribbon and find the Main tab. Select the Developer tab and click Add. The Developer tab should appear on the next window. Select Check and click OK. The Developer tab should appear on your ribbon. Now that the Developer tab is available on our ribbon, let's now add our macro. On the very bottom left corner of your sheet, you will find a shortcut for recording your macro. Click the square button and a window should appear. Name your macro and the shortcut key and add little description and click OK. Now we are ready to record our macro. Click again the square button below. Go to the Data tab and click Refresh. Go back to the square button and click Stop. Now let's assign our macro to the button. Right-click the button and select Assign Macro. Select the refresh sheet macro that we did earlier and click OK. Now it should be working, so let's try. Balance sheet, and let's go for 100, 200 asset. We will do non-current asset this time. Non-current asset. 201. And let's do property, plant, and equipment. And since it is our first record, so let's go for 201, 1001. Let's put building this time. Our table did not automatically update. Let me just drag this small button here and click refresh. Now our chart of accounts is structured. So our chart of account is ready. For our next video, we will connect our chart of accounts to our journal entry table. Stay tuned and hit the like button so you get notification as soon as the video is posted.